Howdy and aloha, everyone. This is James with Montauk. Tonight I have a special, well, this morning actually, I have a special guest from the island of Kauai, part of the Hawaiian government, right? The lawful Hawaiian government. His name and a good long time friend that I've known since high school, since I was 14 or 15 years old. Kekane Pa, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing, James?
Good,
Thank you
good,
for
good.
letting me get on this show of Monotalk. Appreciate it.
No problem. It'll be transferred. It'll be moved over to Hawaii lore, as you can see here in the background.
HL, Hawaii lore.
Hawaii
Yep.
lore, yeah, which is going to be something that we'll be using in the future um, to get us recognized, right? And I think that's part of. There's other things, of course, but Hawaii's been through a lot, especially in the past 3 or 4 years, right? Everybody has. But anyway, so what's going on? What are, where are we at now as far as what you'd like to discuss today?
Well, the purpose of this show tonight, James,
Mm-hmm.
or this morning, what do we have? Is I wanted to come on and share some very, very interesting concerns, and
Uh-huh.
it's based upon this word that they utilize in Hawaii um, since the early
Mm-hmm.
1800s. And the word is Hawaiian, Hawaiian. This word Hawaiian um, cannot be found in no Black Laws dictionary, or you try and find the word Hawaiian in a dictionary. They'll tell you Wikipedia, but you won't find it in any Black Laws dictionary
Okay.
or Webster's dictionaries. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So doing research on trying to resolve this situation that occurred on, actually, not only from 1893, but how it how it came about to the presence, to what had occurred in 1893.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to 1893, and prior to Hawaii becoming a constitution written with the assistance of Europeans,
Mm-hmm.
we had this system that was is recognized, or actually discussed, prior to creating the 1840 Constitution. And when King Kamehameha died,
Mm-hmm.
they had missionaries. In one year, they were on the boats. They came over. They never waste no time.
Yeah.
They came over to try to start assisting in working with the newer king to try and create a constitution. Yep. And prior to that, Kamehameha Great, the predecessor, always he battled his own people to continue to keeping the ancient customary usages and practices, yeah, of all
Right.
times,
Right.
as a head, as a paramount lord. Okay, there's difference between paramount lord and superior lords. Yeah, and these, what I'm sharing, is no difference than the time of the Vikings, the Romans, the way the kings ruled the system. It was acknowledged in Hawaii that Kamehameha still followed those same tactics of authority. And when the European came here, the Europeans, they understood that very well, the type of system that was utilized in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kamehameha passed, and they within 1 year, they had all these experts come in, and they convinced King Kamehameha III to create a constitution. Well, it started with the 1839. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they started putting, everything was oral. So when they arrived, the Europeans, they started to put things in writing because everything was in oral. But on unwritten custom can always supersede a written custom. Yeah. So if you live the style without nothing in written, a written cannot supersede an unwritten custom. So, because anybody can come and write something different, right, pertaining to the ancient customs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we've been battling all along. And so, when they created the 1840 Constitution, yeah, it opened up an avenue for the Europeans and businessmen, yeah, to put to you know utilize the lands and produce. And of course, there was challenges that was within that, and some of the foreigners didn't understand the ancient usage, the ancient customary usages and practices, and so there was a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So when they created this 1840 Constitution, you got to really look at it. Got to really look at it good because they tell you one thing and then they say something else. And I'll set you this thing. I believe I emailed it to you. If you
Right.
open it up, go to the exposition on the principles on which the present dynasty is founded on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very interesting because what they say here is the origin of the present government and the system of polity is follows. Kamehameha first was the founder of the kingdom. They acknowledge that, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And to him belong all the lands from one end of the islands to the other. Sentence one. But when you look at sentence number two, I mean, this next sentence, okay, though it was not his own private property, it belonged to the chiefs and the people of Kamen, of who Kamehameha first was a head. So you say in this constitution at the very beginning that it belongs to the king, but the next sentence you say, but it didn't belong to him, it belonged to the chiefs and commoners. So you see how they were putting this constitution together to water it down.
Right.
So but my point I'm getting here is that they actually was slowly stripping power away from the king, knowing that he is the absolute sovereign and the owner of the land.
Right.
The land
Word by
base.
word, it sounds like just a little word here or a little word there can make a big
Right.
difference.
Right. So when you, I mean, I can go on and on. And they say when you get a chance, you go read it, and then when you get questions,
Yeah.
you let me know. But I'm just gonna cut it, bring it a little short because we've been working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Who's working on it? Who's working on it?
well, we've been doing research, yeah,
Okay.
as individuals to match it up to what
Yeah, but
we have.
who's the group of people that are helping you? Is there a title or group or?
Well, I'm with the lawful government of Hawaii.
There you go.
Okay. But
Okay.
what I'm talking about here is we as individuals are doing research.
Oh,
And
okay.
then when we gather to convene in our process,
Mm-hmm.
we bring this concerns to try and see how we can betterment and understand how or the reason why it was important for the Europeans to convince our ancestors that hey, you should have a constitution.
I get you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you really look at what they did, our ancestors really couldn't understand European or English real well.
Different
But
process.
they had this system. They had this system in place that the Europeans understand could never be altered.
Mm.
But they did it anyway. Okay. But the beauty of this here is that they could never take the land, the national lands, till
Mhm.
today, because they recognize Hawaii as an independent sovereign nation. So it became a nation status, a nationhood, right? In order for another nation like the United States of America as a nation to take over Hawaii politically and by right of ownership of its national lands, there has to be a treaty signed between the Hawaiian nation and the United States. Okay? Treaty of Reciprocity. They're supposed to sign in merging and Hawaii giving America the national lands, which never occurred.
Which
and they
never,
used
I was going to ask you that
yep,
never occurred, right?
never happened. And so when you have all these people to come to Hawaii to learn the history, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you learn Sanford Dole. Then they take you back to this other area of President McKinley.
Mm-hmm.
Remember McKinley?
Yes.
So President McKinley was replaced the time of what's his name, Grover Cleveland,
Cleveland, right? Yeah.
and so he's the guy that's supposed to be at McKinley High School on the island of Oahu with a statue holding one book that he says is the treaty of the annexation of the Hawaiian nation to the United States,
Hmm.
right? But to today, they cannot provide the palapala in writing, but they're going to make everybody believe the statue.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's demand that they provide it. So there was a great talk the last 2 years that they plan on removing the statue of McKinley holding the treaty between the Hawaiian nation and the
Mm-hmm.
United States of America because they can't provide it. So what they did was they actually assisted in creating the Constitution. And then they started amending the constitutions from 1848 to 1846 to 1848 to 1852. The more they continued to amend the Constitution, the more they started to take power and authority away from the king in this document that they call Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is what they were good at. And all along, at the very first, like I just read to you, on 1840, right up in front, they admitted the king owned all the lands from one part of the island to the other, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then they try to fork tongue and say, but it didn't belong to him, it belonged to the chiefs and the common people. Right off the bat. But the next constitution, and they started to amend the constitution, they started to take the owner and stuck him in the middle of the constitution to make it like, we already told you who he is, what is his position, but we're going to do this and start making changes.
Mm-hmm.
So this led up to them getting into the government body, in the executive, the Department of Interior, and turn around and creating the land commissions awards. They started to create all these different agencies and committees so that they could slowly plan to seize the lawful government of Hawaii and introduce the Republic of Hawaii. All along that this was going through, at the time of their approach with this transition, they were known as the provisional government. Yeah. And the provisional government had no authority to the lands. The provisional government became the Republic of Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
which became in return to the territory of Hawaii, which now is the state of Hawaii. Same people, just changing their names and using different acts
Mm-hmm.
in Congress to make these changes. But all along they're doing that, James.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to figure out how to acquire the lands. Yeah. And when the 1893 annexation took place, we believe that the Republic of Hawaii was annexed and not the lawful government of Hawaii, because they were the puppet government. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does. So they didn't really. It's like they created their own entity and then took over that entity, but it's not the actual government of Hawaii.
It's not the lawful
Government of
Hawaii.
Right.
See?
So that's a good point. So they created this fictitious entity, and they decided they wanted to. They marketed that we're doing it, and the players in this fictitious group just kind of
the
went.
big word fiction.
It's big fictional characters and everything. So it really never happened.
It,
Yeah.
it did take place,
Uh-huh.
but it didn't happen, or it did not happen to the proper owners.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
It.
it did happen.
Yeah.
So that owners went into limbo after they seized the government, turned around, threw their people in their government, went to the Ilani Palace, read their proclamation with this guy they call Sanford Dole, who was a president.
Mm-hmm.
All through the committees of amending the Constitution, they kept amending the Constitution all the way to their. They knew exactly what they were going to do. Their intentions was to take everything away
Right.
from the Hawaiian people because
Pre-planned.
the lands, yeah. So it was intentionally.
Yeah.
But what's beauty about a recognized nation, you can never extinguish the identity to that nation or extinguish that form of system
Right.
that they had. Yeah. So in ancient times, all of the lands were considered to be property of the king,
Mm-hmm.
and were held in for him by the higher of district chiefs and the five of conditions, yeah, to tribute. So what they did was they created this government and they ran with this process.
Theater.
Theater.
Yeah.
But here's the beauty of the theater.
Mm-hmm.
In order for them to take control of Hawaii, knowing that they don't have lawful title to the ownership of the lands, they needed to change that individual or that beneficiary's identity. Because we are known as Kanaka Maoli Hawaiian nationals. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Kanaka Maoli Hawaii nationals.
Okay.
What they did was they used the term in their languages, native. Finally, they created this process where they now identify us as Native Hawaiian. And then when they created the Hawaiian Constitution, it wasn't Hawaii, it was Hawaiian. So all they needed to do was to put the A and N behind Hawaii that created the word Hawaiian.
Good thing I created Hawaii lore, not Hawaiian lore. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at
Hawaii
is
is a country. Hawaii is a country.
It's a
nation,
nation.
Country.
It's a nation.
Yeah.
And so we can say it's a country, but that country is identified as a nation.
Right.
Kanaka Maoli Hawaii Nation.
Kanaka
Maoli Hawaii Nationals. Yeah. And the foreigners that came here are foreigners. They can never be a Kanaka Maoli. They can never be the same without the blood. They have no blood, right?
Uh-huh.
So when they created this word Hawaiian, they call it the Hawaiian Islands. Well, Sandwich Islands, then it became Hawaiian Islands, then it became Hawaiian Kingdom, then it became the Hawaiian Constitution. You see how the words just started blowing up? Hawaiian this, Hawaiian, Hawaiian. And then when you get to the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act after 1900 Organic Act, that really was, when you read what I'm going to send you on the other one, I want you to read it. You're going to be very blown away because there's a two-way cutting sword. How they identify this, and then how they say, but this is really what took place. They explain how they took everything away, but what they cannot explain is they still don't own the land. So I can go further than that. So we go back to the identity as Hawaiian. Okay, so everybody in Hawaii is Hawaiian today. You do not need the Hawaiian, do not need the blood. Okay, the beneficiary blood. And by means, the state of Hawaii is bringing all these foreigners in. They live here 3 years, and they registered as what? A Hawaiian resident. Yeah, this is I'm speaking facts and laws.
No, I get
you. I want other people that listening might not understand. You can Google that thing on the state of Hawaii and you can see what it is. So for us, James, what is the difference between a Hawaiian resident and a native Hawaiian with 50% or more, or a native Hawaiian with 49% and less? There's three categories. What's the difference between all them?
Uh, if you're born in Hawaii, I'm not sure.
Nothing. What's the difference between three of them? Yeah. Under their creation of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, they made the Hawaiian people, or they made the Kanaka Maoli people less to be equal to a foreigner, and that the foreigner to be the same
Or is
as
equal?
as the Hawaiians to be equal,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Even though the foreigner doesn't have blood, he doesn't qualify for the Hawaiian homestays programs. And there's Hawaiians that is 49% less to zero that is in the same category as the foreigner, because the way it was set up, if you don't have 50% or more, the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act cannot help you. So that puts you in that category equal to the foreigners without the blood. So you become less of a person to allow the foreigner to become equal as you. And then now we have residents that move in here that become equal to you and your grandchildren under the word Hawaiian.
And they're not even any blood Hawaiian at all?
Not whatsoever.
Wow.
So this is where I'm talking about identity.
Mm-hmm.
The state of Hawaii. Okay, so let me get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
The state of Hawaii, 1959.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take it further back. The Department of Hawaiian Homelands, Office of Hawaiian Affairs, 1920, February 16, 1920. The 1959, the state of Hawaii, 1978, Office of Hawaiian Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of these agencies cannot use the word Kanaka Maoli as an identity. They are obligated and designed to only use the word Native Hawaiian 50% and more, the capital N, Native Hawaiian 49% and less, the small N on the word Native, or the word Hawaiian as a residence.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we continue to call ourselves and live in that jungle or the wilderness of being a Hawaiian,
Mm-hmm.
everybody in Hawaii is Hawaiian. But according to the law, and according to the Apology Bill in 1893, November 23rd, 1993, excuse me, signed by Bill Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
they identified in that law that Article 29, where the indigenous Native Hawaiian people never directly relinquish their inherent sovereignty as a people over their national lands to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They're acknowledging that our people never consented to giving Hawaii America their identity. But there's a catch in that apology bill. Yeah. And so it's I'll get to that word. It's oh man, it just passed me but I'll get back to that word where it identifies the how they're using it. Inhabitants. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then they say the word that these people inhabited the islands prior to 1776, right?
Right.
Now, who is that person or that name that they utilize and say had inhabit the islands? They saying the word Native Hawaiians. The word Native Hawaiians never occurred until they started the constitutions. You see them?
Mm-hmm.
So we have people that are saying inhabited beneficiaries. Well, if we go and identify a process and reinstate a process, we now can identify the Kanaka Maoli Hawaii nationals as uninhabited beneficiaries. So that uninhabited beneficiaries is not the same as the inhabit, inhabit, inhabited beneficiaries that is in the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, because the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act is Native Hawaiians, and for us uninhabited, we chose to be Kanaka Maoli. Same
Right.
person, just different identity.
Right.
See, and that's how they controlled the people for so many years, for over 120, 30 years now.
Right.
But it's going to be hard for our people to consume that because our kupunas were taught to be Hawaiian. But now we're getting deeper. And I go pull out my phone. If you what you call, if you type in the name Hawaiian, where did it arrive from? You'd be very interesting. It's very interesting. They'll tell you where did the word derive from.
Mm.
Let me see. I'll find it right here real quick.
No, I can look it up.
I'll read it right here. I got it. The Hawaiian
Okay.
language. You won't find it in a Black Laws Dictionary or whatever qualified dictionaries, but you'll find them in a Wikipedia. And they say the Hawaiian language, first European contact, Hawaiian began to be written for the first time, largely to isolate names and words of the list. Now, this is what they're telling you. Europeans began to write the first time the word Hawaiians. But when you look at our history, Olelo, there's no Olelo, or there's no Olelo or a historical history of using the word Hawaiian. It was Kanaka Maoli. It was Kanaka. Same like the song, Kanaka Vai Vai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, they're not saying Hawaiian Vai Vai, right? So this thing is getting really interesting. And
so they did change our language. They took out. Have you ever read anything from Max Freedom Long? I think maybe I sent you something a while back. But Max Freedom Long was very thorough in his research about how, and this is just a piece of what they did, is they took out consonants, they took out pieces of our language so that they could kind of twist stuff around.
And this is why I said,
Yeah.
what we have never been, not we have never been, but a lot of people has never been taught was there's a difference between written and unwritten language. So a written language, like ancient customary usages, comes under oral, where you learn from the kupuna of the history, versus when European now go write one book or go write one tale, and exactly what you're saying, they're going to twist them. Yeah. So their story, when ancient custom usage on oral, always supersede a written, because anybody can twist them. Exactly what you're saying.
Right.
And so this is what we're facing today in Hawaii. So going back to this identity, where did the word Hawaiian come from? I just shared, because you're not going to find them in the Black Laws Dictionary.
Right.
They telling you the Europeans started to write their language. So it's clear that they created that, but you got to ask yourself, how did that word arrive? Because they get Hawaii in the word Hawaiian. All they have to do was add the A and N to call it Hawaiian. Just like America. Americans, A-N, Kens, Americans. Think about it, right? And then they put those Kens, Americans, Hawaiians on the one. You just said it earlier. Fictitious identity.
Right.
Right? So they control you. They control your birth certificate. They control your identity.
Wow.
And they no longer use the word to your proper identity. So if we continue to call ourselves Hawaiian, we continue to let the criminals who's controlled today by their grandchildren that living off the land. And I know plenty of these families here. They're great people, and some of their kids are my classmates. Brother, they don't even need work. They're living off of our royalties because they suspended our government and they ended up controlling the assets through the government that the United States of America had said is the de facto government. So in order for us to get ahead and move forward, if we cannot understand our identity, our true identity,
Right.
why, we're not going to be successful. Yeah.
Are there texts, documents, books, anything with that people have held on to that?
Yes.
Okay, that's
And
important.
you know what? The other thing is that when they suspended the government, because they had libraries, and there was a lot of good journalists that wrote from the kupuna, their oral testimonies, and they put them in books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when they took over our islands, they burnt every library with all the information in. Every island had 5, 6 libraries. The missionaries burned them all. Nobody's held responsible for that,
Wow.
But there's some people that you can find, and I see these books, 1747. And this is why we're talking about these ancient custom usages.
Right.
Yeah. And the page is very brittle. 1700s, this book written. So there's, like what you're saying, there are books that was written, but I just wanted to share that a lot of these important books was also burnt by the mission.
Sounds like it sounds like the Great Library of Alexandria. If you've ever heard of that, it was burnt by many different kingdoms, not kingdoms, but I would say just oligarchs throughout time, and they tried to destroy their culture, and they couldn't, which was great. But anyway, that's what it reminds me of. I'm just saying this is all fascinating to me. The biggest thing that gets me in regards to all this is we have documentation, and I believe we have, or you have, or the lawful government of Hawaii group have all this information to show that all of it was a ruse. It was a theater. It was fictitious. It was all created, kind of like the FDA, right? The federal drug, right?
Yes.
They portray that they care and they're doing something for everybody, but they don't. They're just a corporation in a sense. And I think that's pretty common for our process. I mean, these oligarchs, these monarchs, and the people that have been running the United States, these businessmen, they know this terminology, and they create these entities and these corporations and these bodies of people that come together, and they get people to buy into this. They sell this junk, and they're really good at it. It's kind of like Anthony Fauci. You know what I mean? So I think this is just amazing. Here's a question that I think you could probably answer way better than I could. What is the step? Because there's always steps. So there has to be a first step in reclaiming sovereignty, right? And what is the most important step? Can we talk about it right now, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, I can just share just a little because I wanted to stick with the identity, but to get back with what you were saying earlier is that the lawful government of Hawaii is not a group. They're not an organization.
Okay, what are they?
What they do is they conduct elections. So they have nationals that come out and elect their candidacies to the government positions. No difference in any other process. And
Okay.
there's all these other groups out there and entities who mean well that has never fulfilled those obligations and those requirements. And foremost, you must reinstate the former government that was injured in this charade
Hmm.
by the Europeans. Okay. And when Clinton's bill came out, it made it clear, I believe, 16 times in that bill, the apology bill. And you know, James, they're right. All they can do is they're sorry, but they're not going to put back Hawaii. It's
No.
our people that has to do the work. No
Right.
way to depend on them. But in that apology bill, they had identified 16 times who is the proper claimant. And in that apology bill, they had identified the proper claimant is the lawful government of Hawaii.
Hmm.
They are the injured party, not Office of Hawaiian Affairs, not the state of Hawaii, not the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, not the
Right.
Department of Hawaiian Homelands, not the Hawaiians claiming to be Hawaiian nation without restoring the proper agencies. You have to, we have to, how would I say that? When you reinstate the government,
Hmm.
you have to put back the position that was injured, but you needed the people with the cocoa to do that. Yeah. So that's one thing that has been going on since March 13, 1999. And we are now 25 years. And we're just working on amending the Constitution that we promulgated and updated to year 2000.
Hmm.
So getting back why is so important is to understand your identity in that government.
Hmm.
That identity in that government that was injured was Kanaka Maoli, was not Native Hawaiians. So this is why I'm trying to stay focused
How
on
should we
identity.
be addressed? Is that what I understand your point? So if somebody's addressing me as somebody a native, they say a native Hawaiian, of course, but what should I be called? I mean, if somebody's, I mean,
Kanaka,
just call me a
Kanaka Maoli.
Kanaka Maoli.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that Kanaka Maoli, you do not have a blood quantum.
Yeah.
See, they also lace their blood quantum. Yeah.
Right.
So when I was a kid, when we grew up in Honolulu and we moved to Anahola, we were called Kanaka. Hey, Kanaka kid, get away here. What you doing there,
Yeah.
Kanaka? Yeah, come on, puyu bara iya, yeah, we kick yeah.
Yeah.
But when we moved to Anahola, Anahola is the Hawaiian homesteads.
Mhm.
They started calling us Hawaiian. So I asked my tutor, how come Kanale, we Kanaka here, we Hawaiian? Yeah. See the identity change, yeah? In the presence of the Europeans plague of how they're now going to put you in, not, I wouldn't say concentration camp, but they're putting you on these lands. That's very interesting because according to the Hawaiian Homes Commission, they only listen the Hawaiians the land. They don't own them.
Mhm.
And now if you build a house on that land, because you only get you're lessee of a lease, you cannot build equity on your home. You see how they get these things so set up?
Right.
Because you don't own the property. Yeah? So you're talking about screwing us every angle. They do it. Huh?
Kanaka Maole, according to Google,
But you
when
not Maole, Mauli.
Maole,
Mauli. Yeah.
M-A, M is
No
in
more no
Mary,
kina between the A and the O. Kanaka Mauli.
Maoli, correct?
One word, Kanaka Mauli. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Maole, then you got to get on Okina between the A and the O. No more.
okay. I need to start learning that. I'm terrible at that stuff. But Kanaka Maoli,
Yeah.
right?
Hawaii.
Okay. Okay. What it says is for I just look it up. I mean,
Okay, yeah,
I just looked it up. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's fine.
So
That's
what
fine.
it's saying is real. It means in Google real people, which I think is kind of powerful.
Well, it's the first people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the real
Yeah,
people.
but but you won't find that in the federal law.
Mm.
And this is not a good thing. Just remember now, we're talking about identity. So in the year 2000, the United States Congress came to Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because on March 13, 1999, the reinstated law. So the reinstated lawful government, we had to reinstate the government as because our government was suspended. It was
Mm-hmm.
removed.
Right.
We had to put back the proper stations to activate the constitutions. In order to do that, we had to get elections. So when they sent their prime minister went to Congress for 17 days just to send them the notice of the reemergence of the reinstated lawful government of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
This is March 13, 1999. Okay, in July, in I think it was April of 2000, we went to Congress and served them the notice of we reinstating the government. We reinstated the former government. We didn't create one. We had reinstated the former government that the Queen had preserved,
Mm-hmm.
Queen Liliuokalani. So from 1993 to 1999, nobody has done reinstating the government. There's only one process that did. That's where I affiliate with. So when we went to Congress to let them know that the reemergence of the lawful government restoring or reinstating its proper stations as a government body
Mm-hmm.
to reclaim all national lands that belong to it, in April of 2000, in August of 2000, the Congress came to Hawaii. Abercrombie, Inouye, um, I'm not too sure if Katsimik was there. Had this other guy from Tong, the Samoans,
Mm-hmm.
and had the delegations from Congress came to Hawaii to push federal recognition called the Akaka and Senator Ikaka. And he was the name. The bill was named after him. He's Chinese Hawaiian.
Right.
And Inouye has no Hawaiian blood. Rest his soul, rest Akaka soul, but you know, they call it the Akaka bill,
Right.
federal recognition,
Mm-hmm.
right? So after we made the claims of restoring the government, in 3 months they came to Hawaii. They had hearings in Honolulu. They never go to no other island
Mm-hmm.
because they know the people would not support them. So it was hard for people to fly from one island to go to Honolulu to testify. But all ended up funding and helping the beneficiaries to fly them in. Well, that bill was to federally recognize the word Native Hawaiian as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
It gets interesting. It gets real interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that act had died in the legislation. But Akaka turned around and told the world the reason the Akaka bill failed in Congress was because of 9/11, the World Trade Center.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot exterminate or extinguish an identity and a nation that has treaty with you on navigation, commerce, and friendship.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it was all about. But here we go back to the identity. They came here to federal recognition, to federally recognize the word Native, what? Hawaiian.
Hawaiian, yeah.
Yeah. So that means that's their name that they're trying to, their name they created, that identity they created. They now wanted to get the Hawaiians to support them and federally recognizing that as Americans. Guess what would have happened? They just said exterminate the Kanaka Maoli identity. Same person.
Right.
Now they get controlled by the foreign country. Now we just say give all our lands to the United States of America. Remember now, let it be known, the 1997 Hui Aloha Aina petition, where our tutus and our kupuna had signed against annexation. And it's in the Congress library.
Mm-hmm.
There was 40-something thousand had signed against annexation and only 5,000 was for. And guess who the 5,000 was? The military.
And I think it was also the Dole factory workers. I think.
Yeah, they're all part of the missionaries. They're all part of it.
Yeah, they're all part of it.
Yeah, yeah. Alexander and Bowen, Castle and Cook. These are all the guys running Hawaii. That's the grandchildren.
Right.
Okay. So get back to the identity. Why did it take them over 111 years to finally come to Hawaii and say, we want to finally recognize the word native? Now, recognize the word, the language, Native Hawaiian as Americans.
Yeah,
so the question arises, if we were Americans, how come we got to get recognized twice? Nobody, our people, some of them just bypasses their brain, bro. You know, but really look at the documents. The documents from Congress does not lie.
Yeah.
You know, when they're telling you we want to come to Hawaii to support a federal regulations on recognizing federal recognition and identifying the word Native Hawaiian as Americans, that tells me something. There's no law saying I'm an American. I'm not against Americans.
Yeah.
It made us believe we were an American, and there's no law. I'm born in 1963. This thing came out in 2000. So they was blowing smoke up my ass for the last 50-something years. And so it finally came out, right? The word Native Hawaiian. It didn't say Native Kanaka. It didn't say Kanaka Maoli. Somebody had created the word Hawaiian so that the federal government recognize them today. So that tells us that when they created the word Hawaiian to the Hawaiian Kingdom, knowing that they was going to seize them, they have the opportunity to suspend the lawful government, create their own government, change the identity to word Hawaiian. They finally wanted to recognize the word Hawaiian in the year 2000, and it failed. Okay?
Yeah.
They made us a U.S. citizen without an American status because of the 3 nautical miles outside of the West Coast into the international water. But our parents' birth certificate would put us under the fiction that we became a fictitious person by our capital names and our corporate status as a straw man.
That's maritime law. Am I correct?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm looking up, just letting you know, I'm looking up the Kanaka bill, and I kind of remember how it was laid out. And you kind of mentioned this, that 83.7a part of that, the first part says, the petitioner has been identified as an American Indian entity.
Yes, sir.
On a substantially continuous basis since 19... So that's what they want to do.
They wanted to put us under the Indian status.
Yeah, I get it now. We don't want
that. So we become cousins to the Indians because we have the word native.
Right.
Native Hawaiian and Native Indians. So now they just make us cousins because their language said we both natives.
Right. I know, right? They're tricky. They know how to.
But we gotta be on it.
Yeah, we gotta be on this stuff, man. This is good.
You know? So that if you go back to what I'm saying, there's this big push now in Hawaii to call Hawaii Blue America.
Okay.
I went to some fishing hearings, and I laid it down a line on there, and I caught all of those guys off guard in front. And the room was packed, over 300 people, and the mayor was there, the council members was there, the state representative. There was I caught all the guys doing a presentation off guard in front of everybody. They call this thing Holomua, non-profit for the fishery. Say where you can go fishing, what time you can, where you cannot. I went up there and I blasted them about the ancient customary uses and practices.
They want to set time limits and dates on fishing for Kanakas.
And I said, after they went through the presentation, I said, who put in on this meeting today? They go, DLNR. And I asked, well, where's the representation of DLNR? Right in front of everybody in the meeting. the guy was doing a presentation. So, us three guys are from DLNR. I said, you told me you guys were a nonprofit doing a presentation called Holomoa. You never tell nobody you work for DLNR. The place went crazy.
Oh,
They got caught lying again.
wow.
Yeah.
Did anybody
So
film that? Did anybody have
yeah,
video of?
yeah, we got the recordings, but you know
Okay, I
what?
would. That moment, I'd like to show at some point on Hawaii Lore.
Yeah, I know. I
I
got
think
it on
that's
my
huge.
phone. I got it on my
That's
phone.
fine.
Nobody filmed. I think one day they filmed them. Yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
they don't like when I go to their meetings because I always gonna catch them off guard.
Yeah.
Because the truth gonna prevail, James.
There you
The
go.
truth always gonna prevail.
Yeah.
Now, when you get to learn what we learn and how we progress today, you know,
Hmm.
we got to understand the transition of Hawaiian land tenures from the feudal system, which prevailed in ancient times, to the present system of land titles. So when I talk about the feudal system, it's like the Romans and the Vikings,
Hmm.
yeah, in ancient times, right? So when Kamehameha first died 1819, yeah, and the arrival of missionaries was in Hawaii in 1820. I mean, 1 year they came to try to accumulate what is known as the Mahele. So Hawaii is now all about the Mahele, the great Mahele,
Hmm.
the 1848 Mahele. Yeah. But the 1848 Mahele is what was going to give these people private land ownership. See? But what's interesting is that they would fulfill that. But the king had to on Kalai Aina. He went chop that contract because when he went along with them in 1848, let them create the 1848. He was the Kamehameha III wanted to see who was loyal to the ancient customary uses and practices. And you had Ali'i, Li'i, Ili, Konohiki, yeah, all these
Hmm.
people that was granted lands for the use of cultivating, fishing, making stone walls, shrines, taro patches, but their obligations was to protect, to revert back to the king
Hmm.
because the land was the king. But the king had leased lands to these leaders, and when they die, the contract is now revert back to the king. He gonna resubmit one lease. These lands was landholders. They never did own land. It was all the king is the sole owner to today.
The
So
redistribution, right?
right, and if the
Yeah.
king owned the land,
I've
why you
heard of
need
it, but
land?
I just looked it up. So I'm
Yeah,
as you're talking, I'm looking up stuff, and I'm posting it when
and
possible
so
so people can see it.
if the king owned the lands,
Hmm.
if you was the king, James, or I was the king, and I own land and you own land, why would you make a law to the land if you the owner? Why do you need land laws to your land as the king and you the owner?
No, none.
That's where your land. That's
It's
where
my
your land
land,
commission.
right?
That's where the land commission award came in by the Europeans
Ah,
under the
lovely.
word fee.
Right.
So there was a fee, but the question is, who would add the word simple to the word fee? That became fee simple, so that the Mahele could now become fee simple and private ownership. So getting back to that, when the
Wow.
king found out that his allies wasn't loyal to the ancient custom um, presence that the father had fight and battle to preserve, everybody said Kamehameha was killing his own people for greed. The people that did not support the ancient traditional practices, that's why they went to battle. Kamehameha wanted to keep it that way, that feudal system. But the story of the white man said, oh, he was just killing our people because he wanted to take the lands. They don't understand this part that nobody shares. They had to battle to follow the ancient custom usages. And Kamehameha win. He became the king of all the Hawaiian Islands.
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii was never conquered, but was passed through marriage. And get a lot of bitter Hawaii Kanakas. Oh yeah, but hey, if if Kamehameha never create the nation, they all have to do is kill a king and take everything. So now getting back to this mahele of private land ownership, under the identity of Native Hawaiian
Mm-hmm.
or Hawaiians. You try buy land today in Hawaii, you're gonna have to get on title guarantee. You're gonna have to do a research. You're gonna have to go to a licensed title insurance company. They're
Right.
gonna do insurance and issue you an insurance title before the bank can lend you the money to buy the land.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
The title research only gonna issue you on deed. They cannot they cannot grant you the ownership of the land. The Aina, they cannot grant you the owner of the Aina. They're gonna issue you a title of a paper called deed. It's called a color of title.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now you know why if you don't pay your land tax, the government take your land.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand this.
That's just robbery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even in Hawaii, it's still going on in Hawaii,
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So now the title insurance companies are fraudulent. And I also got that papers from the title guarantee. I wonder if I can read them to you. Want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
I go pull them out. This thing turns heads, brother. Let me see if I can. So if you think you owning the land in Hawaii, by all means, ask yourself, why do you have to do a title research? Who's doing the research to the land? Why are they doing research to the land? And when it's time to find out,
Well, they got all kinds of reasons, sewage or
it's so that the lender can let you the money
yeah.
to buy the land.
Right.
And when you pay off your debt to the bank is going to issue you a color of deed. Excuse me. They're not going to give you on land title. How can they give you on land title? And so what that means is that they're issuing you a color of title. So let me out. This was sent, my uncle Henry Smith gave me this. Yeah. Title Guarantee Escrow Services, November 29, 1995. 235 Queen Street, first floor, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. Yep. He replied to my uncle, Mr. Henry Smith, Jr. My uncle gave me this paperwork before he passed away. Yeah. Regards State of Hawaii's land title. Okay. Dear Mr. Smith, I am in receipt of your letter dated November 15, 1995, in response to my quote, which appeared in the Honolulu Star Bulletin on August 26, 1995. Please be advised that my comments was not shown in full context. This is the issue we spoke about concerning ceded lands controlled by the state of Hawaii. At present time, a question is whether upon a sale, title insurances can be issued. Yeah? Upon a sale, title insurance can be issued. Without title insurance, no lender will lend money. Thus, the property may not be able to be sold. You see them?
Yeah.
I did not mean to imply that the state's title is no good. But because of pending litigations in Congress, any government and crown lands in the state of Hawaii is now somewhat in limbo as to insurability and thus sellability. Until these matters permitted to ceded lands are resolved, we believe the state may be unable to convey good title to any buyers and lands.
They're illegally giving away land.
Very truly yours.
Right.
President David Peach, title guarantee. This is the
Wow.
Pala I get right now. Okay. So what I'm just sharing with you right now, that's why I'm sharing. The reason why we're getting screwed is because our name is called Hawaiian.
Hmm. Now that letter, do you have it copied, or is that? I'd like to. Anything I put on Hawaii lore. I mean, if we're talking about it, people can look it up. But if you have links or anything like that, so they can look at that, because that, as I'm looking up seed or ceded land, give up or surrender land, position or authority. So I get it. So this is it's 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 the word play. It's kind of like a big pot of stew of words that they. No, it's like making up words um, for what is that game where you have the little the
They
word.
James, they're good at a language.
Yeah, they know how to. I mean, they know maritime law. They know ancient law. They don't really know ours, so they created their own in a sense. But it's just really interesting that, well, it's awesome that you're catching all this, and whoever else is helping you, that's freaking awesome. So when we present our case, I mean, how? That's my question: is what is the step, or when are we going to be able to go? Okay, so you
Oh,
guys go ahead.
we've been in the courts for over 16 years, you
Okay,
know. And there's this property of 527 acres that the lawful government had go down and claim
hmm,
that was controlled by Alexander and Bowen on Maui. And we've been on that property for over 16 years now and go in and out of court. Yeah.
mm,
In and out of court. Well, we now coming to the conclusion where we hitting our own feet, ourselves in the feet by identifying ourselves as Native Hawaiians.
right. The word Hawaiian.
That's their
Yeah,
word.
that's their word, not our word.
You remember what I said there?
Right.
The federal law recognizes that the inhabitants prior to 1776 is Native Hawaiians. Now we walk into their court with their identity, but they cannot prove ownership of the land. That's why they cannot remove us. See? And we're a government process. We have a government that has fulfilled its requirements and obligations to hold these elected positions as nobles, representatives, minister of foreign affairs, minister of the
So you've
interior.
carried on. You've carried
Yeah,
on as a lawful Hawaiian government.
that's why we conduct.
Here's a good question, and I got to get moving pretty soon. It's already, for me, it's a little late. But the capital, the true capital of Hawaii itself, is Lahaina,
Exactly. Yeah.
and we should get into that next time, because that's a whole book, and I've got some information on that, and I'm sure you have a ton of it too.
Yeah.
But the wordplay that they use, Scrabble, that's the game. So what they do is when I used to play, my brothers and my sister would play Scrabble, I used to kind of like make up words, like little words, right? Don't it's a puka. Don't you know what a puka is?
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
hole,
stuff, the
man.
whole.
It's a hole. It's a door, man. Don't go through the puka, right? And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's a real word. People say puka all the time. But anyway, so these guys just made up crap. They created this theater, all this fictitious stuff. It was a ruse, it was a facade, and they put it all together and just. They didn't fool us either. I've watched many YouTubes, read a few articles, and it was just theft.
And
Out and
James,
out theft.
there's a lot of other Kanakas out there trying to trying to level the playing field and work towards getting back our country, and
Hmm.
I commend them all,
Right.
because it's not easy, but we get all these canoes. Some canoes that this way, that way, this. Oh, we all gotta come together in one canoe and go together. you know, and it's gonna come. But of course, we're gonna get opposers because a lot of our Kanakas they make plenty of money, yeah,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and so you know, it's they get the nonprofit running the businesses, you know, and in order to have a get money from the federal government to be sustainable here in Hawaii, you have to file a nonprofit as
Right.
a Native Hawaiian. And when you file a nonprofit as a Native Hawaiian, you are tied to their window
Yeah,
of
you belong
opportunity.
to them. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. And so with the lawful government of Hawaii, we wanted the OHA to um, pay for a Hawaiian government process panel and an election, an
Hmm.
independent election.
Right.
And they said, in order for OHA give us the money, we got to file for a nonprofit. And our prime minister said, no, no, no. We're not going to subjugate ourselves to you and be independent. So we go out and make fundraisers. And, it's not easy. You find somebody that willing to donate us guys $10 million, this thing probably gets settled real quick. You know, in
Hmm.
return, we sell them some bonds. Who knows? And then they get their money back. But again, we're in this trial and tribulations of just trying to get through. And the courts here are so corrupt. You can see what they're doing right now.
Yeah,
You
they're doing it to Trump right now. Pretty
know,
heavy.
there's
Pretty
no
hardcore.
indictment on these guys. And that guy,
Uh,
Carl Rose, I've spoken with him. I have an apartment in Honolulu.
hmm.
He came sat down with us. He wanted to charge. He introduced a bill to tax gas for that fumes.
Hmm.
But when you travel, you got to pay for the gas fumes. I mean, it's crazy. These guys are they freaking brought a trust me. I just lose my bubble sometimes. But getting back to what I wanted to share tonight, and
uh,
I thank you. I very appreciated that you
yeah,
allowed it is on identity.
most
That
important.
identity.
Most
Look
important.
the look the Native American Indians. They were Apache, Navajo, Sioux,
That's what they should have been.
Cherokee.
They should have stayed that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's why Geronimo would fight to blood, saying, "No, we're not going to."
we're not
And
going to
then now
be. Yeah.
and they're good people too,
Oh yeah.
but now hands are tied. Yeah, yeah. And then people go, and we get my own people. My own Kanaka, why not be like the Indians? I said, well, if you understand your ancestors, the nation of Hawaii was
Yeah.
recognized
Oh,
independently.
I get it now
We
for
we we
sure.
got we had what was that? We had like 29 countries that had treaties with, and the United States of America was the last. And look what they did to us.
Hmm.
But again, we got to stop calling ourselves Hawaiian because the
Okay.
foreigner move here is on Hawaiian, whether we like it or not.
Okay.
And it's we get plenty of hatred because the Hawaiian not educated. He could tell you cannot be that. You know more blood. But the Hawaiian is less because you choose to be Hawaiian and not Kanaka. Now once you get everybody educating themselves, if I get the cocoa
Hmm.
and I call myself Kanaka, that Hawaiian resident can never be me.
There it is.
And I'm not gonna be less. And the foreigner is going to always be less, not being how should I say, not being oh the word just said past my head, you know, it's just how it is, the identity, you know,
Right.
it's not being what was that like racial or and then racial has nothing to do with it. It's just
Their lineage.
fair, we're not equal.
Right.
Hell no, it has nothing to do with that.
This.
I mean,
Right.
how can you without my ancestral bloodline be the
Hmm.
same as me? How is that?
Hmm.
Is your process and your European missionaries that came here to preach the God.
Hmm.
Now the Kanaka own the Bible and they own the land. Well, excuse me, I take that back. Well, the Kanaka hold the Bible, the missionaries using the
Hmm.
land. They can never hold the land. Yeah.
Yeah. So according to OHA, I'm 38%, but according to my DNA test, I'm 42% Hawaiian. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
So, oh, that's the word, discriminate. That's what I was
Discriminate.
trying to get
Yeah,
earlier.
they're discriminating.
So, so So by you calling ourselves Kanaka Maoli and not Hawaiian, we're not discriminating. So you set a good example,
Hmm.
right? How come if I get 50% and you only get 40, I qualify, you don't qualify? That's discriminating.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is we gotta remember is Prince Jonah Kalanianaole. Okay, he went fight with Joseph Navahi and who was the other Kanaka to to help the Queen restore the country.
Hmm.
He would put him in jail. He finally turned around and he became a representative for the Republic of Hawaii. Jonah
Hmm.
Kalanianaole. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
A
Good to
lot of
know,
guys
though.
don't know this.
Good to
So
know.
he, in order for him to become to go to Congress and support this Hawaiian Homes Commission Act,
Hmm.
he had to become an American. So Jonah went, in order to sit in the House of Congress, you had to become an American citizen.
Oh yeah, of course.
So Jonah went to Congress to create the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, the betterment of needs of my people, our
Hmm.
people.
Hmm.
Look at the big picture.
He had
Once he became
he.
an American citizen in Congress, he could not represent the nation of Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's like me and you going to Japan as a U.S. citizen, could sit in the House of Japan, caucusing.
Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It's
but
silly.
do you think the people in charge going to inform or educate the people?
Nah.
They're going to give you one side of the story. Oh, he was good. This was good. That was good.
Yeah.
But look what happening. The word Hawaiian. And you know
Yeah.
what? I gotta go look up. I know I get the newspaper of that original hearings that took place in 1920 and April
I would like to
6th.
see those. I
Yeah,
would
it's
like
an
to.
original
Yeah.
newspaper of the whole hearings.
Yeah.
I gotta go look for them. I gotta go dig them out.
Okay. So just letting you know. Thank you, by the way, for being on with me. This is just amazing information. I mean, my goal here is just to inform people of what really is going on, what really went on, and what we are trying to accomplish, which we're kind of getting to. But here's the biggest thing. In the future, you'll send me some information so I can post it because I'm kind of. If you watch this over, you'll see that I'm posting it whatever I can alongside of what we're talking about, so people can kind of understand it. And a lot of the the slang and the language like that. Sometimes I want to go, oh, that is what that means or what that means, because some people don't understand some of that stuff. I mean, I know a little bit, but I need to know a lot more.
Well,
I'm so howlied out. It's crazy.
it's all good. Well, what do yourself a favor and go type in research the word feudalism.
Oh yeah, I know what that is.
Okay, when you do feudalism, fife, fee, vessel,
Yeah.
check that whole category out,
Okay.
and you can see what we're talking about,
Yeah.
what our ancestors was,
Hmm.
you know, and how they can never exterminate that
No.
usage or exterminate that what do you call extinguish that identity.
Right.
It's like social triage. It's more than genocide. You cannot,
Yeah.
you can, and when people talk genocide, they don't understand it. Genocide is when you extinguish an identity of the planet of this earth.
Yeah.
It's not
A
because
people's identity, not just
yeah,
themselves, but
yeah, yeah.
their entire. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's happening right now with the World Economic Forum. But I'm not going to get into that tonight.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, we're
but
good.
listen, let's do this again. Like
Yep.
I said, whatever you bring up, whatever you want to talk about, because I'm going to have some questions now. Now that we're going to start doing this, I mean, whether it's a week from now or a couple of weeks from now, just when you're ready or available, let me know. I'm off on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but that could change. I'm working at the college over here. Other than that, that's it. I want to say thanks for being on. And
Right on.
I'm gonna get it for you or you can get it yourself. I'm gonna get you a light that you use.
Oh no,
A little circle light.
I got one.
Yeah, so I
Got
can
one.
so we can see your face a little bit. I'm just saying. because we want to see the handsome Hawaiians out where they
Kanaka,
should be.
Kanaka,
The
Kanaka.
wait, the handsome Kanakas. My bad.
There we
My
go.
bad. Okay.
We gotta,
I've got to. It'll take time. I got to start saying it. The
right?
the Kanakas, Maoli.
Maule, yes, right. I mean, there's so much. I appreciate it. I know
I
you
need
gotta
to
go.
learn. But when I learn, everybody else is learning. So you're teaching not just a Kanaka. You're teaching everybody else too. So this is good. So these are
And
good.
also, and
Yeah.
also, and also for the foreigners. And put it this way, I kind of apologize if I offended some of you in this show, but it's about straight. It's about straight talk.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're
Kuka.
adults. We're adults. We're professionals. We're good.
We're not discriminating.
No.
It's based upon history that has been misled. And again, before we go, last words. When they said Captain Cook had discovered Hawaii, our people was here already.
I know, right? I hate that part. That oh, Captain Cook discovered. What are you talking about? The freaking Kanakas were already there, brah, for freaking like 1500, like 2000 years prior.
Ah,
Yeah, some people say longer than that. There are some studies that.
and I
You
don't know
know,
if you heard. I don't know if you heard about it. I know you got to go, but they had this thing called Waimea Town Celebration. They called it Captain Cook Celebration.
oh jeez.
My cousin went down there, roped the statue with his horse for yank him down. They changed the
Really?
name. Yeah, it's no longer Captain Cook Celebration. It's called Waimea Town.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a there's a lot of people that just don't get all this stuff, and once they start to
So
understand it, then that's when you start to enable them to move in the right direction, do the things that's necessary in order for our movement. Would you call it a movement? I would call it a movement.
our freedom,
There you
our
go. Our
and
freedom, our freedom
what
from the.
what we gotta
Okay,
do is we gotta reverse the position of allowing the foreigner to control our sovereignty.
there you go.
They're controlling our
Yeah,
sovereignty by using the
yeah,
word Hawaii.
yeah. I get you.
Okay?
Okay, so look, the picture I have you see behind me. All right, this picture. I've got it here. I'm gonna make just so people can see it a little bit better. Um, this picture right here was taken when there was a lot of low tide or something happened where this, and you can still see it occasionally on the North Shore, like by Haleiwa or somewhere around there. But these these
Artifacts.
these hieroglyphic carvings
Yeah.
clearly indicate that's our land. That's our land, bro. You see what I'm
That
saying?
in, that indicates that they were here before Captain Cook.
Absolutely, it does.
Huh?
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I'll go. I got your email, so
yeah. Send me what you
I'll
got.
knock this out.
Anything you want to put in the show notes that you want people to see, just send it to me and I'll put it on there. I can always edit this stuff anyway. But
Right,
other than
right.
that, we're good, man. I appreciate you being on. Mahalo, brother. I appreciate it. Say
You,
hi to the family. We'll stay in touch.
you
And
too.
aloha, bye.